There's a vaccination deadline fast approaching for public school students in Cambridge. All students 12 and older who want to participate in before or after school activities must be fully vaccinated by November 29th. I spoke with the superintendent, Dr. Greer, about why school leaders made that decision and a new way for parents there to submit vaccination records. So when's the deadline for this requirement, and why did you feel this was important?
Sure. Thank you for, again, engaging us in this conversation, this important conversation. Our deadline is actually November the 29th. By November 29th, all students ages 12 to 18 should be fully vaccinated in order to participate in after-school and extracurricular activities that are sponsored by the school district. It was a very long and ongoing conversation that we were having with our health and safety working group, which has been in existence for the last couple of years throughout the pandemic. And that working group is made up of scientists and health professionals across the state and here within our city with the Cambridge Public Health Department. What we were seeing was a trend in the number of students ages 16 to 19 who were not fully vaccinated. And with the fall and winter approaching and our sports and activities moving indoors more so than they had been in the spring, we knew, or in the late summer in spring, we knew that we needed to begin to think about mitigation strategies so that we could keep our schools open and safe. In-person learning for all is something that we are committed to in ensuring that our students are in front of a teacher every day throughout the school year. So we're really trying hard to make sure that we're not having to close classrooms or schools due to a spread in the COVID virus.
Yeah, it's so important. Tell us more about the Student Vax Portal. How does that work?
Sure. I have a wonderful team. I cannot take credit for it. We have a wonderful chief strategy officer along with our technology department and our communications department who have been working closely with our educational coordinators and persons who sponsor after-school programs and events. And so for quite a while, even prior to me entering the district, there have been conversations about creating a student activity portal. And so we did that along with launching the vaccination portal, where these two portals actually speak to one another. So the student vaccination portal launched on November the 8th, and families have really done a great job of uploading their students' vaccination status. So we actually have a very high response rate. Even within the first week, I think we have close to 500 or so families that have already uploaded their vaccination information. So we're very happy about that, and that continues to grow every day by 50 to 100 individuals every day. So that is so we feel very positive about the launch of the portal. But also what it does for us is for any educator who is sponsoring a sport or an after-school activity, they could just click on, see their students that are enrolled, and be able to see either yes or no, whether they're fully vaccinated or not. So we also try to make it the use of it and the ease of use easy for those who are on the family side as well as the end user on the educator side.
Interesting. So one database for all of that. What is the position there in Cambridge Public Schools about vaccinating children 5 to 11 years old? And if those children in that age group are not vaccinated, will they be allowed to participate in after-school activities?
So in the 5 to 11-year-old vaccination, when we recommended this to the school committee and the school committee approved it several weeks ago, we knew at that time that we were focusing on the 12 to 18-year-olds, and that actually has been our focus. Right now, what we are doing is trying to encourage families of students 5 to 11-year-olds to do their due diligence, speak to their medical doctors and pediatricians to better understand the vaccination for their age group, but also that they know that they have some time deadline. We have yet to set a date that those students have to be fully vaccinated. Right now, we're encouraging families to look into it, to take advantage of the vaccination clinics that have been running across the city. And believe it or not, we actually have like an 85 to 90% vaccination rate amongst our 5 to 11-year-olds already. The families have already started taking advantage of the first dose.
So I know you have a vaccination clinic on December 1st. That deadline for the older kids is November 29th. I'm curious, have you had a test and stay program in the Cambridge Public Schools as other districts have? And does it work?
Yes, we have.
How has it worked?
Our test and stay program has been in effect since the start of the school year when the State Department released the guidance around that and also offer support and assistance to districts in order to provide that service. With test and stay, if a student and or a faculty staff member, if they have had a close contact exposure and or if they have if they've had a close contact of anyone who tested positive for COVID, then they are allowed to, as long as they have a negative COVID test, they will have a test for 5 days, consecutive days. And as long as they continue to have a negative COVID test, they can remain in school and at work.
Interesting. And let's talk about masks. So many parents that you speak with just really hope we get to that day when children won't have to wear masks in the classrooms. Do you envision that that might happen this school year, or is it just something that's a goal and you just can't put an exact date on it yet?
Right. It definitely is a goal. We now have started to shift many of our internal conversations amongst my leadership team, our health and safety working group, and having conversations around how to shift from being in a pandemic to an endemic, which means that, you know, this may be something that we will live with for some time. And what steps then do we need to take in order to still keep our school community safe and free, virus free, but also how can we begin to feel more comfortable with having a higher vaccination rate and still taking some of those other precautions through testing protocols and surveillance testing and things like that. And so that's a conversation that we've started to have. As you know, DESE has said that January 15th is the date, so we will stay masked up. Cambridge made the decision that it's going to be sometime in January as well. So we are already having those conversations to think about what masking will look like past the deadline dates that have already been set for that.
All right. Well, Cambridge Public Schools Superintendent Victoria Greer, so much work still to do on top of all of the education that you oversee. We appreciate all your hard work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for speaking to me today.